Well, I looked, and there they were. This one talked about my weather hall 20 minutes later. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm wiping the sweat off my brown, figuring out how to clean the drawers." And I told him, he said, "Oh, there's always deer at that."
It is.
I've never seen one.
Well, yesterday,
So we have here.
I was going out to Lansing, about 96.
Sorry. No, I have arthritis.
Oh, we had two killed in the.
No, it's really bad.
Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
One hung itself on a fence.
No, I don't.
I do.
Don't sign up. You need to put it down here.
That's a bad sign.
Yes, I should do this. Left hand.
Howdy, howdy. I wasn't late.
Sorry, I was in your way.
Not mine.
No, I'm gonna.
Nice camera.
Thank you.
Ready?
It's beautiful weather.
Yeah, no, I'm bored.
No, we thought it's my drink.
How
How you doing that, Mrs. Lincoln? How did you like to play it?
I
I just sent you a little bit, I gave you the list. Yes.
It's on occasion.
Okay, yeah, I think I got two people.
Let me out, yeah.
Right, right, we understand it. It's therapy, it's all part of your therapy, right?
And a couple coupons, that they give back.
Yeah, they're like me. I never make a decision like that fast.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't expect them to.
Yeah. Yeah, so it tends to order and all that.
Mr. Schumann, I haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, we got some. We have a celebrity with us now.
Right, signing stuff already?
Pleasure. Hey, how are you?
You're sorry to hear about your dog.
You know, when you have 11 years, like one of the kids.
That's why I don't have a dog.
No, but you know what, having children, that's not, it's all part of life, so they just when the actual family members,
It still hurts.
it always hurts me. You know, there's never, even we did none of us ever like the old.
Nice for one, but still, he was the one thing when I did everything for him. He was running, he was there.
Yeah.
That guy that has the new dispensary, he and I were talking, he had to have one ACL done. Is that what they call them, these talks? And I think the other one's up. But this is, they have different benefits, so it's like 25, well, we get 35. What am I gonna do? Tell the kids I ain't gonna do it?
Call this to order over here, roll call, please.
Blair,
Here.
Easter, Lublin, Mauer, Marshall,
Here.
Schumann,
Here.
Zarchek,
Here.
Ackley,
Here.
Allen,
Here.
Ambrose.
Here. All right, we have a quorum. Any requests for agenda changes? Everybody good? All right. Approval of the minutes of the April 11th, 2017 meeting.
I'll make the motion.
You support that?
I'll
Supported, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So be it. Okay, audience participation. Yes, sir.
I'm Kathy Kubik again,
Yes,
and I presented something last time, you weren't here, Mr. Schumann, and I wondered if anybody called Don. This is about the building, the CEC building, their school district plans on tearing it down, and I presented something to you, and I gave Casey one, and I can't remember your name, I apologize. And I just was hoping, because I've heard, I sent something to him and said, please let me know if anyone contacts you. And he has not responded. He just said, I will, and I haven't heard from any of you or from the Wall Lake School District. And I looked on this, and I don't know if you have anything about what I asked you, if you thought it was a good idea, because there's been a change. One change is at the last school board meeting, a person named Bob Donahue, who is, he's something about development in South Lyons. And he presented something to the board about saving the building. There's someone who wants to buy the building to make it into condominiums. That's one thing to think of. There's other ways to save the building, if we could get a real rich person, as I said before, that wants to buy it and do it as a nonprofit. But I just wanted some feedback from you guys. What did you think of the idea?
Well, here's where we stand today, okay? There will be a group spearheaded by Bob Donahue touring the building this afternoon, evening at 6 o'clock, okay? I have been in touch with another gentleman, Mark Minnick, who did the Plymouth development, and he's very interested in doing this.
Yes, it's the same, Bob is representing him, isn't he?
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I just got this guy's number, so I.
It's okay, no problem.
That's okay. No, so he's very interested. When I spoke to him, was in New York, so he will be back in town the later part of the week. He would like to get together and go over some ideas, but same thing, we'd like to convert it over to condos, keep the property, develop the property around it, so.
Well, what did you, I mean, do you have any pull at the school board to have them change their mind at all? I mean, they won't talk to
Well,
me,
it's all gonna be-
we can only present.
Hopefully, there is some kind of fiscal responsibility over there in regards to spending money. And, because, from a Walled Lake standpoint, I guess we do control the zoning of the property. So, it's advantageous for them to be able to get somebody in there that's gonna be able to use the property, or the property is able to be marketed.
Right, because
Okay.
you would get taxes from this. That's
Right,
what-
well, based on what they do, okay? I mean,
Right.
If
It's
they go and tear it down,
nonprofit.
it's nonprofit, you don't, but if you do have somebody come in here, convert to condos, sell the condos, then you've got your property taxes that you'll be able to collect on that.
Right.
Plus what other structures they put up in that development, so.
Well, do you guys have some other plan that you had for the land?
I mean, we are more of a sounding board that we can take to the school. I don't believe we have any pull other than, we happen to have a similar name, but, no association nor any influence.
Okay.
Okay?
You're
Yeah,
all right.
yes, go ahead.
My name is Dennis, by the way.
I'm sorry.
The board here talked before about getting with whoever is in a position to make a change of purchase or whatever, and to basically maximize the development there. It is about tax dollars, and a good development for the community, that the community set would be useful to the city and our downtown area in many ways. So nobody's objecting to rehabbing the building. That, however, is going to have to be done at the school board level. There's no such thing as pool with the school board. They're an independent body. They're a taxing
Right.
authority too. They have the same issues about taxing too. If there's a development there and it brings in tax dollars, it brings in tax dollars to the school board. So if somebody came in with an offer that was feasible, that could change the school board's mind. The school board, they're elected officials, but they deal in reality too. If they come in with just a lot of talk and they don't put in, show the money kind of thing, if people come in and talk, but they're not able to really develop it or rehab it or whatever, it's not gonna happen. We don't have a say. We've already had these meetings. The mayor and I met with school board, and they let us know, and their intent is to move out of the building. The last I heard, and I don't know if anybody is, that they were in the position to demo the building. That's where they're headed, unless somebody comes in like the Donahue group.
Right, and they've already established a date for
Yeah,
demolition.
Donahue is.
Wait, what is the date?
Oh, I don't know, somebody just said to me, they're just moving along with their own agenda, okay?
Yes.
Now,
Donahue's a very wise guy. He was with the county's economic development group up there and for working for Brooks Patterson. He was with the Main Street, so he knows what he's doing. Probably if anybody could have a deal that makes the school board listen, probably would be him.
Well, I just want you to have vision. I don't see this town with vision. I mean, you've got Pinos where that tore down. I mean, what is gonna go there? They didn't have to tear the other part of the building down. Something to make this town grow and be a cool little town. I came from Plymouth and it was a nothing town, and now it's a really big deal town.
I don't
And
think- I don't
they
really-
saved their school.
it's not a matter of vision, it's a matter of getting people that wanna come in and invest in here. And we can do everything we can as far as rolling out the red carpet and, opening all the doors, but they've gotta come. The Pavino situation, I mean, they wanted to do something, but, okay, there's a situation, 8 family members couldn't get everybody together, that they couldn't find a more move-in ready place than they did. But if somebody came to us, and we have all kinds of different avenues that we can use to accommodate anybody to build something there. So,
But you're against the nonprofit, if there was a nonprofit that wanted to do it, if this Donahue doesn't work out. I mean, I think it's a great idea what he has, but
Yeah.
I'm just asking. I appreciate you letting me speak, and just keep
We are.
making this a neat little town.
And
That's
we
what I
would
want.
love to keep that building I would speak from the downtown development,
Okay.
myself personally, would love to keep that building. There's a lot of history over there, you know, the largest consolidated school district in the state, the first and everything else, so
You know more than I do.
it's beautiful, okay?
Okay.
But, you know, it's gotta make sense, and unfortunately, hopefully, as we're saying, that the school is, you know, somewhat fiscally responsible, that, you know, that they're gonna do the right thing. I mean, they have that whole situation with contaminants over there, so you're dealing with another issue. Do they want?
They're just blowing smoke. I really, because you can take asbestos and encapsulate it and it's fine.
But we don't know what fuel tanks were buried out there.
No.
There's all kinds of history that you go back and over since the early 20s when the school was built.
Right.
What was allowed then, as Ford Motor Company, to what is, you know.
Yes, but what a new development wants to do, they would have to take that responsibility.
Right, or relieve, somebody relieve them of that, so, you know.
Yes.
Well, I think too, I was talking to Bob, Bob Donahue, because the school board is adamant that they don't want to sell it with the building on there because they don't want to see a charter school come in.
But
Wait a minute.
okay.
There are only a few developments that they can put that in the deed that a charter school won't be allowed. And I don't think a nonprofit will hold up under those requirements.
They did in Plymouth.
Well,
That is in there and they will not allow
what Bob and I
charter schools.
talked about the
Right,
other
and I
day.
have that folder if anybody wanted to see it. about
I don't have it, but I'm
So-
just telling you that it's gotta be proven to the school district.
Right.
Right, they don't want any
It was
competition.
written in that transition, I know
Right,
that.
so we'll work through it, we'll go on to. And when we hear something, keep coming, we'll let you.
I guess I have to keep
Right.
going.
Okay, anybody else? Let's do, yes, Susan.
I'm sorry that Ms. Coogan is not here today because this is mostly addressed to her performance at the last meeting. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Finance Director Coogan for her fun-filled, informative presentation at the last DDA meeting. It was packed full of DDA financial information, which Ms. Coogan was generous and patient enough to share with all of us, even though she pointed out that this information had already been given to us in the past. I do recall that once, over a year ago, Ms. Coogan had gone over one section of last year's proposed budget with me when I had been on council for all of a few months. At last month's DDA meeting, Ms. Coogan generously shared her opinion that it appeared to her that I was unable to understand said facts because I continue to ask those pesky questions. Even though it's a duty and responsibility of elected officials such as myself to ask questions, Ms. Coogan stated that she takes said questions as a personal affront to her competence and integrity. I've been attending as many DDA meetings as possible since the near destruction of the DDA in 2012. Over the years, I have heard repeatedly that the DDA has no money. Indeed, this was the subject of informal discussion at a meeting here last year, which turned out to be a non-meeting because for the fourth month in a row there was no quorum. During this discussion, Mr. Ambrose stated, well, maybe when we get some money we can get people to come to meetings. It's hard to get people to come when we don't have any money. At that point I asked Ms. Coogan how much money the DDA had. She answered that there was $1.2 million in that account. It was because of this information that I paid a visit to another member of the board who had been absent from several meetings. When I asked this person why the attendance at meetings was so bad, the answer was, well, why bother? We don't have any money, so we can't do anything. When I informed this person that the DDA had $1.2 million, there was great shock and surprise in response. Ms. Coogan asserts that she has always been completely clear and transparent in disseminating DDA financial information, and if we are laboring under the impression that the DDA has no money, it must be our inability to understand. However, I would like to suggest that perhaps there's a breakdown in communication somewhere. At any rate, as a result of Ms. Coogan's presentation at the last meeting, I am resolved to double down on my questions. Ms. Coogan can agree to answer them or not as she sees fit. I regret that this additional posing of questions may cause Ms. Coogan to feel even more personally affronted, but perhaps if she answers in a loud and condescending tone of voice, as she did at the last meeting, who knows, maybe that will make her feel better. Just as a side note, Jason Easter, who was appointed to the DDA in November, has been absent for 5 out of the last 7 meetings, including today. that could have something to do with lack of a quorum, just saying.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Dennis Burks, 206 Spring Park. All this stuff about this junior high school is a mess. I talked to the supervisor myself the other day, and there will be a follow-up video online after this meeting is on. I've asked this before. In the DDA program, there is provisions for people for their retirement, medical insurance, and other things to be offered. Is there now or in the future going to be anybody using those? I got 3 minutes. I can stand here all three of my minutes.
Well, unless you've got a crystal ball that tells us what's gonna go on in the future, how can we tell you what's gonna go on in the future?
All right. All right, it's my understanding that either the city hall, or city police, however they do it, charge the DDA fund for patrolling that area, which was patrolled for years before you got the DDA. So in a sense, it seems to me, in my opinion, you are robbing the DDA fund with that. Is this true? Okay. Also, for fire rescue down in the DDA area, is there anybody charging the DDA fund for those services down there, which, in my opinion, and many citizens I've talked to, sounds like they're robbing the DDA fund. It's amazing, isn't it? All right. Yeah, I've been around these subdivisions, the Gamma, some of these other ones, and I do agree the roads are bad in there. They need to be fixed. But you also have a drainage problem, which is it complicates it because the ditch lines have not been dug out in 40 years like they used to be. But people that have lived around here all their lives wouldn't know that, okay? Some of those culverts have been filled in. How's water gonna flow through a ditch line and a culvert when the culvert's filled in and the ditch line's grown up for over 40 years? It's amazing. You guys are so intelligent. You know, myself, there's another group of people that are, actually they want to blacklist everybody's business.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else, audience participation? Okay, close the audience participation. Moving on to unfinished business, we have the update for the Commerce Walled Lake Wixom Trailway renegotiations.
I can do that, or have the mayor do it. Mayor, let me report and you fill in.
Sure.
The report to the DDA, and we'll be doing a similar report to the city council. The mayor met with the mayor of Wixom and the city manager of Wixom and the new city manager, the incoming city manager, both of them were there. And the Commerce Township supervisor. They put on the table the issues that are of great concern. The interesting part of that is the mayor had laid out all of the issues that needed to be dealt with in terms of the equity and the interlocal agreement before she put it on the table. The Wixom folks put it on the table. They had the same concerns that we did, and that's the provision in the contract that says that each individual entity, local government, would be responsible for their maintenance. If the entity came apart, if the Trailway Council came apart, you can pull out Section 9 of the interlocal agreement says that any entity can pull out, meaning it could be dissolved as an interlocal agreement, but whatever they built as a Trailway Council would then become the responsibility of that entity. In our case, we've got the depot, and if the Trailway Council turns it into a very large entity or develops it in such a way that its maintenance costs, perpetual maintenance costs exist, and then they pull away from it, that the city of Wall Lake, the smaller city of all of them, and with the less expanding tax base, would be responsible to maintain that in perpetuity, which would be good business for the bigger cities. So say they still got their trail and they still got this depot that serves all the trail, but Wall Lake would have to serve it, because there's always going to be a trail. What essentially we've done is we've come up with the language, which was really the beginning of this discussion about whether we should be in it as a trail council, and that language would protect Wall Lake's interest, it would protect Wixom's interest, that we will be sending it back to them if the Trailway Council dissolves, whether it's us or anybody else, that the maintenance on that facility or any other facility that's developed on the trail would be maintained in perpetuity in all three. Even if you got rid of the Trailway Council and they separated, that's what we're putting on the table. So actually, they put on the table what our concerns were. There was never concern about there's going to be a trail or whether we're going to build a good trail. That's the